finally I'm making my property update video. This is the property where the first two houses stood that we explored. And as you can see, they're both completely gone.
Nada.
Nothing left. And it was really irksome to me because they bulldozed them down before I could come back and go in the attic of the second house. And that just really...
The week before, actually.
Eats me up. It eats me up that I didn't get to go in that attic and see what was in there. But maybe it was for the best that I didn't go in there after I tell you the history that I found out about the attic. Could also explain why these properties were abandoned.
After we explored the first two properties, I came back home and I got on my computer and entered the address into Google and started doing some research. And I found this website called Spokeo, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, it's spelled Spokeo.com. And it can tell you who the current and past residents are and were of a property. And it told me that at this address there was a no unit, just says NO unit, I'm not sure what that means, and then there's unit A and a unit B. And it lists all of the people that lived there, and there were many different families living there at one time. I know that the property was divided into different units, different segments, and I think based on the remodeling and the odd architectural changes in the second house, I think that it was divided into different units, multiple families living there. If you remember, I walked through the carport of the second property, and around the other side was a door that it wouldn't open. I couldn't get in it. When I went on the inside of the house, there was two sort of places where I could kind of try to see what was going on with this door. One was in a closet that had been, it looked like an axe had been put to it. And inside that closet, I know the door was on the other side. When I looked up, there was some empty space, almost like there could have been a staircase, a rudimentary staircase going from that door, that outside door, up to the attic. For some reason, I think people lived in the attic, or the attic was used as another room, because it was a fairly large attic. The second area where I was able to see what was going on with this door was in the middle bedroom. There was some siding that was built up in front of where the door could have also entered into the house. What was behind the siding, I do not know. I think there was some sort of space. I feel like there was some sort of space, and that there could have very likely been some stairs up to the attic. Since there were so many different families, different people living at this address, I believe they did these remodeling and odd modifications to sort of suit the needs of multiple families living at this one house. I think it could also explain why the ceiling was brought down lower in the entire house, perhaps to provide more insulation and to make it quieter for the people up in the attic, so that it was more of like a second floor. Also, maybe to try to hide the fact that people were living in the attic. Remember when I showed you the attic in the second video? It had no door on it, and it also looked like at one point it had been built under. Here's the attic and the open door, and then there was a ceiling that went under it. So when that construction was in place, you wouldn't have known that there was an attic there. Either they tried to hide the fact that there was an attic, or they just didn't want people having access from that point. I don't know, but it's sort of a mystery. This is important information because I'm going somewhere with this story, because it gets better. I then started Googling, for whatever reason, hauntings in this town where I'm at right now. Because there was just something creepy about the second house, especially when we found a card that said, bless this house, make it safe. And there was graffiti on the ground, like there was some sort of, I don't know, ritual or something. So I just put in hauntings in this town, and I'm just going to read to you what this website says. Ghosts of America. This is a story that someone sent in. One day, after a night of partying with the girls, I was driving to my home in Port LaBelle, which is, you would drive right by this house on the way to Port LaBelle, when I saw out of the corner of my eye a blinking light out of a nearby house. Oh yeah, the house is right off the highway. You saw that in the video. I stopped to check it out on the side of the road. Sure, you could pull over right there to check it out. When I realized the for sale sign in the yard, yes, it's been for sale for a long time, I looked through the windows and no one was there. The next day, I went over with a couple of other friends and we called up the owner. He said that the previous family of 2 was found dead in the attic of the house. When I read that, I got goosebumps because that would completely explain why we found that card there, why people had been trying to do whatever spiritual things they do to bless the house and make it safe. It would explain why it was abandoned. You know, many of the residents there were on the previous website that assured it said family of 2, family of 2, family of 2. I think that 2 people were killed in the attic. And whether it be they were murdered or they committed suicide or they just died of natural causes at the same time, I do not know. But that's my theory. I mean, all of the clues, all of the data, it all lines up. It just does. I know when I was there the first time I had a really creepy feeling about the attic. And then, you know, my friend found that card on the ground that said, bless this house, make it safe. It's the only thing we found on the ground. It was purposely left there for a reason. People knew that this house was haunted. And they were trying to, you know, I guess set the spirits at ease or something. And then just to top it off, the creepy glove that we found. I don't know if that was left there just as a joke or what, but it's a pretty sick joke if it was. But that's the only other thing we found there, you know. So, I guess what I can conclude from this whole experience was that you better be careful where you go because you never know what happened there. You don't know if you're dealing with supernatural, spiritual factors. Be respectful. Be safe. Always let people know where you're going. Believe it or not, our neighbors knew we were going there. Everyone in this whole neighborhood has been inside those houses, so I know it was semi-dangerous, but it wasn't as dangerous as you think, because we do live nearby and everyone's been in there. Now, I'm not from this town. I just started living here about a year ago, so I don't know the background or the history of the property. But I could ask around some of the locals and find out for sure, see if my theory is true or not. But anyways, just thought that was interesting and wanted to share it with you.
We have a suspicious circular area here. What was that for? Is this some sort of magic spell circle? It's probably nothing that interesting. It's, I don't know, just where something circular was. But really, what is that?
A small UFO.
A UFO landed here. That's the answer. Crop circle. A dirt circle. There's some leftover wires. From what I can remember, the second house was somewhere in that area. And then the first house we explored was over there. But I could be totally wrong. Since everything's been taken down, it looks different. I know they did take out some minor trees because I remember in the second house there was a group of smaller trees on this side of the carport that had some vines on it, and I don't see them anymore. There were two smaller buildings over here that are gone. I'm trying to look on the ground for anything interesting. Any secret doors or basements. Hey, what's this? Let's go see what's in the woods back there. Because they cleared out a road, so who knows what else we might find back here. That is poison ivy right there. And guess what? I already have a bunch, so I don't really care. I've already got it on my whole body. It's like Little Shop of Horrors. Yeah. Oh, look, here's something. Some sort of cage or a fence. This is kind of weird. This used to be a pin to hold something. See? It's a cage. It's a cage all the way around.
Oh, yeah.
And what they held in there? Who knows?
Do you want to go in it?
No. Because it's too thick. Now an empty lot where two houses once stood. They've been completely bulldozed down. Everything except a few construction remnants is gone.